Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to the Frappeverse 2025. I am Nabin Hait, one of the co-founder of Frappe and a maintainer of ERPNext and HRMS application. So in this session, we will talk about the product updates for all of our enterprise business applications, what we did in the last 1 year, and what is our future plans looks like. So last year's highlight was the community collaboration. If you see, in the last 2-3 years, our team mostly focused on the stability and performance. They did not ship a lot of new features or improved a lot of user experience of the product. So we wanted to change that this year. But our internal team was mostly busy with handling support tickets. So they had no bandwidth to work on new features or user experiences. So we decided, why not collaborate with the community developers? No, we have a great community. So many of you know about Resilient Tech, right? They are the creator and maintainer of the India compliance application. And Smit and Sagar both are CS in their team. And at the same time, they are great developer too. So a killer combination to work on accounts module, right? So I approached them to work on the accounts module, collaborate with us, and they readily agreed. And as a result, in the last 6 months, they shipped multiple enhancements in the accounts module. Similarly, we did not have a lot of bandwidth to work on the ERPNext integration, which is a very crucial part for the ERPNext like application, right? On the other hand, we saw that Arely worked on lot of integrations for the ERPNext application. So we collaborated with him to maintain all of our ERPNext integrations this year. And they did not only work on the integrations, they also worked they also shipped lot of fixes towards the core product stability. Most of you know Hussein, right? So he is the face of the community. He conducts a lot of training sessions to the community developers, and he is the closest to the community developers. He knows most that what actually community developer wants in the framework. So he is the right person to enhance the framework features. So if you know that he started his own company 2-3 months ago. So we collaborated with him to enhance the framework and also work on the Frappe Cloud Marketplace. Again, another story, Hybro Labs. So they worked on HRMS and payroll module implementation for multiple enterprises. And they also build a lot of enhancements for India-related compliances and policies. So we collaborated with him to build India payroll application to enhance the HRMS application. Similarly, we collaborated with lot of community partners to work on localization and compliance app for their countries. So this year we have added localization for 5 countries: Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Kenya, and Uganda. So if you thinking to collaborate with us, I would say just start contributing, and do small contribution at first. Focus on the quality, deliver quality, build your reputation, then think about the deeper collaboration. It will not come on the first day, right? And if you don't know about the coding, still you can contribute. We have documentation, right, which is in very bad shape, by the way. So there is a great scope to collaborate on the documentation front. Other than that, we increased our team size, in-house team size for the ERPNext and HRMS application this year. Along with onboarding lot of developers, we also onboarded one product manager, Diptanil was, maybe Diptanil, who had over 15 years of experience implementing ERPs, not only ERPNext, lot of other ERPs as well. So we onboarded him as a product manager to work with community and get the feature request and build a roadmap for us, the developers. So from the past few months, he has collaborated with multiple community partners to understand the product gaps, and based on that requirement, he is building a roadmap. So yes, we are building a roadmap now. So primary sources of roadmap is basically the GitHub issue, where all the community members basically raised all the issues all the feature requests they want. So Diptanil is basically going through all the GitHub issues and prioritizing them based on upvotes. So if you want any specific features, just go to the GitHub and thumbs up. You know? Apart from the GitHub issues, another sources obviously the Frappe partners, the community members is connecting with them and understanding the requirement. And another thing is enterprises. So a lot of our enterprise customers want a lot of new features. And they directly reach us via CSM. So we also put them in the roadmap. So overall, I would say that last year was a very balanced year. We not only focused on the stability, but we almost ticked in all the boxes for all kind of activities. So in terms of stability, we have closed almost 1,500 GitHub issues. We have resolved 7,000 L2 tickets, and we also merged 5,000 pull requests. Apart from stability, we also worked on performances this year, and Ankush maybe. So he dedicatedly spent 3 to 4 months to improve the performance of the framework, and as a result, now framework performance is almost 2x faster now. This year we also refactored a lot of outdated code, like in assets module, right? So we have refactored and rewritten the entire code of the asset module this year. We also refactored TDS module, budgeting, a lot of accounting module reports as well. Along with this, we also shipped a lot of new features this year. We introduced a whole new module called Subcontracting Inwards, who are doing subcontracting business themselves. They can use that now. And apart from that, we also shipped MRP features in the manufacturing module. We shipped customized financial statement. In the payroll, we shipped long awaited feature, overtime and arrears. So all those things we have added. And also we have made significant effort on the UI UX. We are bringing back our iconic desktop, which was in the version 7. We have redesigned our desktop and workspaces. We also introduced scrollable list view and scrollable grid view, which was very requested feature from the community from a long time. So you will see all the demo for all these features after me. Yeah, so the question is when V16 will come. We still don't know the date, but definitely by the December. Yeah. So what our future plans looks like, I would say that there is no silver bullet, to make the product great overnight. So we have to continue working on all the activities, whether it is stability, performance, new features, everything, But what we want to do this year, that we want to increase our volume and the shipping speed. So that's why we are increasing our team size also and collaborating with the community. But if you really want to ask me that what is my favorite, so that would be user experience. I want to focus on the user experience this year. So yeah, we are maintaining a V17 roadmap on the GitHub, so you can maybe track that. And before ending my talk, I just want to highlight that we have reached these milestones. We have reached 28,000 GitHub stars on ERPNext, 6,000 GitHub stars on Frappe HR, and 9,000 GitHub star on framework. Thanks for all the love. And that's it.
Hello, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful morning. So myself, Ruthra, I work as an engineer in the ERPNext accounts team. So in the next couple of minutes, I'll just quickly showcase what we've been up to for the past 1 year. So like Nabin said, primarily I focused only on performance and stability. Let's start with a few examples. So in accounts, the primary source of information for any business user is the financial statements. And one such statement is the receivable report. But we've had frequent complaints that on very large customers, for very large customers, the data volume is so high, the receivable report timed out frequently. So I worked deliberately on this problem and came up with a solution. It's just DB cursors. I rewrote critical parts of the components which uses raw SQL to use DB cursors. And we now have like a 15% reduction in the runtime of the report across all scenarios, be it small or large, however much large volume of data you have, it doesn't matter. You have a across the scale reduction in runtime. Another major thing that I worked on is the budgeting feature. Even though it's a very small one and seldom used, there are some really big clients who make use of it. The thing about budgeting is it's real time, which means it uses the general ledger as its source of truth. And for large clients, as you're aware, this can lead to severe performance issues. So I rewrote it from the ground up, and it's significantly faster now. The thing is now, any kind of rewrite is prone to severe bugs or major drawbacks. So to make it less painful, we have provided the option to opt out if needed. So you have this option available in the settings. If you really don't want to, you can opt out, but I highly recommend you do it because the more you use the new controller method, the more and faster and better it gets. So that covers the performance part. Let's move on to stability. So this is a major thing that I did. So this thing called reactivity. Let me quickly explain what it is. So in any sales or purchase transactions, the most common activity that you do is add an item, right? But you would have noticed that when you add an item from the drop-down, a system automatically fills in the supplementary information, the rate or the available quantity or the description. So this behavior can simply be called as reactivity. But the problem is, this behavior is entirely done on the client side using JavaScript, which is prone to async bugs and severe performance issues on large sites. So I have no other option. So after much deliberation inside the team, we decided to move the entirety of this behavior to the Python side. So this completely eliminates the async bugs, much more performant, much easier to extend as well for third-party customers who want to extend using client script. They don't have to rely on the client script now. They can just actually override the method on the server side. It's much easier to maintain. As with the budgeting feature, we made an option to opt out of this because since it's a very major breaking change, we have decided, okay, let's not completely break for everybody. We just add an option. So if you really want, if your client scripts are really old and you're not able to immediately move, you can still opt out of this feature and still have your client scripts work. So stability is not just rewriting code and improving performance. Sometimes you need stability in your features. So many of you are aware, like accounts has two major ledgers. One is the payment and the general ledger. But even with those two, there are certain scenarios involving advance payments where the reconciliation is not possible if your previous fiscal year is closed, your books are closed. So to handle specifically that, we added one more ledger just for handling advance payments. This completely eliminates all of the drawbacks and limitations that we had with the previous design. So any kind of reconciliation scenarios where your advance is allocated to a sales or purchase order in your closed books, you can still reconcile them in your current fiscal year. So it's not just performance improvements and stability. One major new addition in the financial statement is a consolidated trial balance. As you're all aware, ERPNext supports a multi-company setup, wherein specifically it also supports a parent-child kind setup. We already have the consolidated profit and loss and balance sheet, and we are adding a trial balance report to that group in the V16.
So today, guys, I am going to share two amazing or exciting features, that we've contributed. And yeah, so the first one, every CFO has the same dream. They want perfect financial statements. But this is not easy. It comes in various forms. Let's say, for example, in India, we could have IFRS format. We could have trading and profit and loss account, something like it's there in Tally. We could have Schedule 3 for Companies Act, and many, many more. And these changes from region to region. Can there be one solution that could solve this problem? Meet financial report template. This gives you full flexibility. You could have your any format with any kind of calculation to meet any of the compliance requirements. Let's see this in action. We build a few standard templates that will come out of the box, showcasing one of them to you. Going to an existing balance sheet, there will be an option to select report template. This is a standard IFRS template for balance sheet, clean, having bold, italics, custom rows, calculations, even ratios maybe. Yeah. You could simply change from summary to account breakdown to see account level breakdown for each rows. Let's see some more complex examples. This is a profit and loss statement. The first one will be as per IFRS. This can have gross profit, operating profit, that's EBITDA or EBIT, net profit, etc., etc. Going forward, we have horizontal or columnar profit and loss, something like the users in Tally love, with purchase account instead of gross profit. Having colored values maybe. Also, we have added one simple validation row, which could highlight if there is any problem with the calculations that's going on. So over here, probably the depreciation is missed out in the formula. This is very easy to configure. It's just about defining how your rows should look like. Let's see this in action. Yes, so this is like all the rows, very similar to how doctype works, with multiple data sources, including custom APIs. You could have column break, section break, etc. Just give a display name, give a filter. It could be even more complex filters with and or conditions, specify formats, and you are done. We are trying to still improve UX over here, if possible. So it's just like building this report once, configuring this once, and it works for you forever. Now you could build probably a cash flow statement as compliant with IFRS, maybe ratios, maybe any other MIS reports that you would want. So this was financial report template. Next up, we have made huge enhancements with tax withholding. While we were providing support to the users on Frappe Cloud, we found that this was a very big pain area for all the users. We accumulated all the problems, and then we came up with a solution that could give users ability to have more than one tax rate per invoice. So tax withholding will now be possible to be configured from item level. It gives you perfect visibility and even gives you more control. Let's see this in action. It's a simple duplicate invoice having more than one tax category within an invoice across items. Gives you full visibility about where it's deducted from, and you can even manually override it if required. This wasn't as easy as we thought, but yes, now it looks good. So yeah, that's all from my side, guys.
Hi everyone. So today, now I'm going to tell you guys about the improvements on point of sale. So the first question, why point of sale? So you guys are aware of this, one of the most famous marketplace apps called Pause Awesome. So it was built by a community member. It was open source, but then something happened and they closed source it. So users who were using the Pause Awesome, they tried to find alternative for it. So ERPNext was already existing, but it was missing some vital features. Uh, and we decided to yeah, why not improve our point of sale and maybe fill the gap which was left by Pause Awesome. So what are the improvements? So first, now on point of sale, you can use both POS invoice and sales invoice. So earlier at the day end, you were only able to get the GL entries and the stock ledger entries during POS closing at the time of POS consolidation. But now, if you configure it to use sales invoice from the point of sale, it will be posting the GL entries and stock ledger entries right at the time of selling. So yeah, so now this is like small demo where you can see both uh, account like accounting ledger and the stock ledger, both you can see right at the point of selling. Next we have draft invoice. So suppose there's a situation where your customers decided to drop off in the midway of billing. So now the point of sale user have the choice to either save it or discard it depending upon the situation. So if they decide to save it, they can get back from the recent order and then edit it, and then they can add item, discard item, and then complete the order finally. Yeah. Next, we have split payments. So earlier it was there in the ERPNext point of sale, but the UX was not so great. Like the clarity of which payment method was being selected by the user was not it was not clarity. It you didn't have much clarity. So now we improved the user experience and polished a bit, and then you can use both. Like in the demo, you have seen we have used both on-screen numpad and the physical keyboard simultaneously to enter the amount, and you can also change the payment method using physical keyboard too. Next, we have additional details on POS. So as you can is the invoice, the POS invoice field, in the POS invoice doc type or the sales invoice doc type, there are multiple fields, but all the fields are not visible on the point of sale screen. So we decide on the from the POS settings, you can configure it, add the field name whatever you want to, or make sure the user uses it, fills it during the during completion of the order. So they can mark it as mandatory and enter the default value. And if suppose there's no default value but it is marked as mandatory, it will make sure that the during order completion, you fill the field and then only you can complete the order. Finally, is this one was the most requested feature. Like people have raised GitHub issue, people have raised it through support tickets that the item names are too large. I mean, they have long, like it is too long. So in that case, the on the grid view, what happens was that what was happening that the item name was getting clipped and all. So therefore, we decided to make a list view for it, item list view. So now you can see all the like the proper item names, like the full item name. Yeah, and we fixed around 80 bugs on the point of sale, and yeah, now ERPNext POS is awesome, I guess.
Hi everyone. So I'm presenting the V16 features related to stock and manufacturing model. The first is serial number batch traceability report. So in automobile industry, when a company receives multiple complaints about their product, they have to first identify a defective batch. Then they have to find which product has used the same batch so that they can recall all the affected products and fix them. So to find this information, serial and batch traceability report plays an important role. So in this report, we have a direction filter, which is a backward traceability, which tells you which are the raw materials were used to produce a batch or serial number. Also, we have a forward traceability. With this, user will know which batch has used to produce a specific item and where it has been used. Next is the sequential manufacturing. So suppose there is a use case. Let's say you want to use the output of one operation as an input or as a raw material for next operation. And you have one of the operation is a subcontracting. So to handle this use case, currently user has to make a work orders for each operation. And for subcontracting operation, they have to create a subcontracting order. But with this approach, the problem was they had to make multiple work orders, and maintaining or tracking all of the work orders under a single entity was hard. Also, there was no linking between them, so maintaining a sequence was also hard. So to fix the issue, now we have added a feature in version 16 where user will able to make a stock entry of a manufacturing against the job card. So you don't need to create a multiple work orders, just with a single work order, this use case will be handled. So to enable this feature, you have to make some configuration in the BOM level. You have to enable the track semi-finished goods as a checkbox, and then you have to map the semi-finished good or the finished good against the operation with the bill of materials. Next is a closing stock entry for inventory, for a periodic inventory. So in perpetual inventory, when a user submits a stock transaction, system automatically creates the GL entry. But in periodic inventory, user has to compare the stock balance report with the trial balance report, find the difference amount, and then make a journal entry to book the accounting transaction. So to automate this, we have introduced a new entry type, which is a periodic accounting entry. And then user has to click on the get balance, so system will automatically fetch the difference amount. Next is the landing cost for post-manufacturing. So suppose you have manufactured your finished good in the mid of the month, and you have received the electricity bill at the end of the month. And now you want to add the cost of the electricity in the valuation of the finished item. So to do that, we never had any option. But in V16, now you will be able to make a landed cost voucher against the manufacturer stock entry. Similarly, for subcontracting case, suppose you have a fixed transporter who sends a transportation bill at the end of the month, and you want to add the transportation cost in the subcontracted item. So to do that, now you will be able to make a landed cost voucher against the subcontracting receipt. Next is the workstation operating component. So in the workstation, the operating components used to be hard-coded. And if user wants to add more components, then they had only option of customization. So to solve this, we have added a child table where user can now able to add dynamic components. Also, user will be able to add company-wise expense account against each operating component. Our next feature is the MRP. And so story behind the MRP. So none of the customer has asked for this feature because we have a production plan, and production plan has the MRP feature, and it covers both make to stock and make to order case. But we are constantly hearing from the partner that this is not an ideal MRP. So to understand how MRP works in general, me and Dipen have taken a calls with the partners like Weather Solution, Electrons, and few others. And based on their input, we have developed this feature. So to understand how material requirement planning works, we came to know that demand planning is important. So for that, we have introduced a master production schedule document. And to make a better planning, we required different source of data. So we already have a sales order and the material request, but we never had a sales forecast and the delivery schedules. So we have introduced this feature as well. So based on this source data, user has to make a master production schedule. And after that, they have to run the MRP report. So in the MRP, you will be able to see the available materials along with their required quantity. And this quantity will be calculated based upon the finished good quantity. And we have also introduced the lead time to calculate the release date, because we have to make sure that right materials will be available at the right time. Once the MRP is finalized, user will be able to make a purchase order or the work order from the MRP report itself.
Hello everyone, I am Mihir, I'm engineer here at Frappe, and I'm the model owner for subcontracting, and I work on stock and manufacturing as well alongside Rohit. So today one of the biggest features that we're introducing in V16 is subcontracting inward. So let's first understand what is subcontracting inward. Currently in ERPNext V15, we have the subcontracting module that deals with you as the customer sending raw materials out to a third-party supplier for manufacturing. They are the ones manufacturing, and then you receive the finished goods from them. So in this case, we are the ones that will be doing the manufacturing, and we will be the ones receiving the raw materials from the customer. So we are the supplier here, and we'll be doing this for a customer. So it's the exact inverse of what we currently have. So this was a feature highly requested by community members and partners and customers alike. So let's see the rough flow chart of how it works. Okay, this is there's some problem. We'll have to skip this. So the subcontracting inward, the first step will be a subcontracted sales order, which is very similar to the purchase order, subcontracted purchase order. If you have used the subcontracting module, there will be a simple is subcontracted button checkbox here. Once you select this, you will have to select the service item, and the finished good and the conversion factor, everything will be fetched automatically from the subcontracting BOM. So that will be the first step. You save and submit. You will have an option to create a new subcontracting inward order, and this is a completely new doc type, where you will have to specify the customer warehouse where you want to deliver the manufactured finished goods. And once you save and submit the document, and automatically the raw materials required for the production will be fetched. So after that, once you create the subcontracting inward order, you just have to receive the raw materials from the customer. Now here's an interesting thing here. First thing, we have introduced many new stock entry types for subcontracting inward, and one thing you'll notice here is that these items, CPU and motherboard, which I have taken as an example, are customer provided items, but yet here they seem to have a rate. But this is not right, because this is not our stock. We're just holding them for a while till our manufacturing process. So if you go into the stock and accounting ledger, you will see that even though there is a basic rate on both of these items, there is no valuation rate, any kind of valuation rate, because these are not your items. So there will be no changes to the books, no stock in hand changes, things like that. So even the general ledger is completely zero for that stock entry. So once you receive the raw materials from the customer, you just have to create a work order, which is the exact same procedure that we've been following in ERPNext for a long time. And once you create the work orders and the manufacturing entries, all you have to do is deliver the finished goods to the customer. Okay. So yeah, you deliver the finished goods, everything will be pre-populated for you, the items and the quantities based on what you have manufactured. So now I would like to that was subcontracting inward. There's one stock and manufacturing feature that I would like to talk about. That is stock reservation for subcontracting and production. So previously in ERPNext V15, we have the stock reservation feature for sales order, where if you want to commit some stock to a particular sales order to ensure that you don't use this committed stock against another transaction. So now we have extended that functionality to subcontracting order as well as production plan. So for an example, I have taken an example of production plan, and now once you save the production plan, you will get an option to reserve the stock. Once you check on this, you will see that the raw materials that were in the table have been reserved. And one interesting thing here is once you create a work order against this production plan, you will see that the items, the stock reservation will be transferred from the production plan. So this is a work order that I have already made, and I submit this. And if I go into stock reservation, you will see that the stock reservation has been transferred from the production plan to the work order.